What is up, y'all? Welcome back. Today we have a little different type of video. We have my 2023 college game day location predictions right here. So it's not like any specific order. I just put the teams on there. Doesn't mean one team is home or one team is away. But just put the teams on there. Starting off with week 1, week 0, sorry. It is clearly Notre Dame and Navy. The only reason I would see it not being that is because that's not in the U.S., so it might be difficult for, them to bring, the set and stuff over, but I'm still thinking it's, at Navy and Notre Dame, because that's in, Ireland. And then the only other option I see it could be is, USC versus, San Jose. So all the other games aren't very good in my opinion. Most of them are non-Power 5 except for Vandy and Hawaii. But yeah, that one was a pretty easy pick for me. Next up is this game right here against week 1, TCU versus Colorado. And this one is a kind of hard week to pick because you also got Florida versus Utah. That's on a Thursday though, so I don't think they would do game day on a Thursday. But and then another tough one in that week, one that I was debating between is UNC versus South Carolina. But I'm still thinking it's that. Especially because TCU to see if they can bounce back after the championship game. And then Colorado with Deion Sanders coming in now. So that's what I'm thinking. Then for week 2, this one wasn't particularly close in my opinion. There's not another good game, like another big one. Nebraska, Colorado is whatever, but that one's not even on ESPN. And it's at noon, so it's definitely gonna be. It could have been Ole Miss and Tulane, or A&M Miami, but I'm thinking it's 95% chance it's Alabama versus Texas. Just because that's a big game, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of build up for that one. So that's just what I'm thinking there. And then this next week, this one was one of the tougher ones. I got Georgia and South Carolina. Right now, the Dogs are 20-some point favorites. So I don't know if that'll probably change. I expect both of these teams to be undefeated going into this matchup. Another one that it could have been is West Virginia versus Pitt. But I think both of those teams will have a loss, maybe two, going into that game. It is a big rivalry, so we'll see. It also could have been Washington versus Michigan State. But Michigan State will probably have a loss between now and then. Or it also could have been Florida and Tennessee. So that one's pretty tough, but I just went the simple route. The teams that are both going to be probably undefeated going into this game. South Carolina and Georgia. Next week, this one is also a no-brainer. Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Some people may say Alabama and Ole Miss. And maybe FSU Clemson, but Ohio State Penn State is the no-brainer option there. Just because, it's just a big game. It was game day last year. This one's already scheduled for 7:30, so pretty certain that this one's going to be game day. Next up for week 5, we have. This one was also tough. I mean, not as tough as the more recent ones. The ones we just went over, but I was thinking maybe South Carolina and Tennessee, but um, you also got that LSU Ole Miss game that week as well. So that one was the one I picked for my spot where game day will be. Game day also, they like to travel to Oxford, Mississippi, where Mississippi plays, Ole Miss plays. So yeah, and that one's that. So yeah, next up for week number 6, we have Oklahoma and Texas. I was debating between this one, Alabama versus A&M. And then also Wake Forest Clemson, because Wake Forest Clemson always seems to be like a good game, but this one's already ABC scheduled. I thought this one might be Fox. I don't know why, but that one's already scheduled for ABC. So pretty certain it will be Texas and Oklahoma. And this next week, this one wasn't very hard at all. This is the only game that me personally saw that could impact the CFP. So that's probably where they will go. They'll probably do one of those like HBCU weeks where they just travel there just to say that they went or something. The same thing they did with Jackson State last year. This one could have been Notre Dame and USC as well, but I don't know. I expect Notre Dame to have a loss by then. So, yeah. Next up for week number 8, we have Bama, Tennessee. Not much else needs to be said for that one. Although, there was Penn State, Ohio State, which also could be big. And then there was also Michigan versus Michigan State, if I'm not mistaken, and K-State. There was actually a lot this week. Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, Bama, Tennessee, and then TCU, K-State. But, it's Bama, Tennessee. That's probably what it's going to be. So, yeah. Clemson, Miami this week, too. So, Miami's kind of mid, though. So, I don't know, but, yeah. And then, moving on to week number 9. This one, kind of an easy choice for me to make here. There was Oregon and Utah, but they don't really travel to Oregon twice a year because it's freaking Oregon. So I just went with Wisconsin. I expect probably both of these teams to be undefeated by this moment in the season. Because Wisconsin's first couple games, they play Buffalo, and then they play Washington State, then Georgia Southern. Then they're all just cupcake teams from the Big Ten, so the only game I could see them losing is to either Iowa or Illinois, but that's probably not going to happen. So, yeah, week 9, Ohio State and Wisconsin. Moving on down here to week number 10, Alabama, LSU, and not much else needs to be said for that one. It's the same week as it was last year. USC versus Washington's also this week, so it could be there if we see something drastic between one of those two teams. Probably not. A&M, Ole Miss, and Notre Dame, Clemson are also these weeks. I think that was the same with last year. Notre Dame and Clemson was this week too. There's K-State, Texas as well, but it's Bama, LSU, dude. Come on now. Alrighty, next up we have week number 11. This one is Michigan, Penn State, no doubt. It could have been, I don't know though, because if Ole Miss can win some games, I think they play they can win games, they play against Tulane, Alabama, and LSU before this week, so before they play against Georgia. But if they can win, if they can go into that game with 1, maybe 2 losses, because the Michigan-Penn State game is already scheduled for 12 p.m. noon. Then, if they can win those games, maybe just lose 1 or 2. Ole Miss, it could be, but for right now, I'm saying it's Penn State versus Michigan. So, yeah. Next up, moving on, we got Week 12. And going back, it's just simple facts. Oh yeah, Week 11 also had USC Oregon. That one could be big as well. But I'm just sticking right there with Penn State and Michigan. Moving on up, we have here Georgia and Tennessee. Pretty much a no-brainer for me. Same with the next one. Those next 2 don't really need anything. Same with that Week 8 one, the Week 2 one, you know. It's just, you don't really need to say much about those games because everybody knows those are games people like mark on their calendars as big games that week. So yeah, those 2 are just, yeah, those are obviously going to happen. So yeah. And that's it for tonight's video, y'all. If you enjoyed, hit the sub, hit the like. Thanks y'all for watching. Have a good one. Peace.